To preface this, if you do not believe in weird spiritual stuff, then this video is not for you. It's fine if you don't believe in it, but be kind and just walk away. I started getting sensitive to spiritual energy probably when I was like 17, a teenager. I was already sensitive to energy. I was aware that there was a spirit world. My mom tried to raise me Catholic. My only familiarity with any mythology was, I just knew about the existence of demons or yokai. Bad translation. And Greek mythology. I knew nothing about Norse. I knew nothing about Celtic. Was aware of fairies, but knew very little about them. But I was open-minded enough about it because I didn't feel quite right in the Catholic Church. But when I was like 17, I started to open up around the time of Halloween or Samhain, when the veil is the thinnest, or when the veil is said to be thin. Started out with the air started to feel different. Now, mind you, it wasn't because of the change in weather. It was because, and I'll say that because, it's the desert. We don't get much of a change. There was a little bit of change back then. It wasn't that it felt colder, it just felt electrified. I had not felt that before, and things started to feel a little strange. I had this dream that I was in this restaurant or house. In the back of this place there was a doorway that these shades were coming through, and me and another person that I knew were serving them soup, and there were little pumpkins on the tables. That one was kind of wholesome and warm, but it got weirder. I started getting flashes of like scenes in my mind, and they were just boom, boom. It especially happened when I'd go to sleep at night. And I started to have anxiety. The closer we got to Samhain, the more weird it got. Now, the week of Samhain, I go to bed, and in this moment, I'm not even thinking about anything spiritual. Instead, I kind of settle in and just think about the person I had a crush on at the time. Next thing I know, I'm finding myself in what looks like a Legend of Zelda dungeon, like inside the Deku tree, and I'm seeing green mist. And then next thing I know, as I'm going through rooms, I end up in this one room where there's just this tunnel. And the green mist is coming out of the tunnel. And I just hear voices on the other side, just talking. And then the green mist starts to sting. And I'm like aware of like how I am shaped and stuff. And I freaked out and I ran, and the tunnel is connected to a white room. I open a door and I wake up and I'm back in my body, and I'm like, and I could still kind of feel the green mist. Go to the bathroom, I felt like I wanted to throw up. It was so weird feeling. I had never felt anything like that. Needless to say, for 2 weeks I had an aversion to the smell of pine because of it. It freaked me out. I felt weird the whole day, and in fact I felt weird for 2 weeks. Then I got a visit in a dream from my Aunt Debbie, who had passed away like 6 months beforehand. Samhain, the night of Halloween, as I'm going to bed, I ended up sleeping outside of my bedroom because I was so freaked out. And I could feel them flying over me. I could feel spirits just flying over me. It was so overwhelming. And for 2 weeks, I was just overwhelmed, and my analytical brain went off. And then after 2 weeks, everything slowed down and calmed down, and everything was back to normal, and I went back to just being a senior in high school. And at the time, I didn't really have anybody to talk to about it except for my parents were like, "You're summoning demons," because I had stuff to do with Inuyasha in my room. And my dad was just like, "Oh, I've experienced spirits. I just call upon the power of Jesus and they don't bother me." But I later on learned more about Samhain. Also at the time I had other weird dreams about other openings to otherworldly places. One of them was really creepy. I think it was the land of Yomi. I think I even saw Izanami. Now understand, at the time I knew nothing about Izanami. Stan and later learned was that these were doorways to other worlds, like otherworldly places, as I learned more about lore. When I go to cemeteries, I definitely feel there's an otherworldly presence. I definitely feel like the veil is really thin there. Now I live in the middle of the city and the veil is very thick here. There's like a couple of little places here and there where I feel an otherworldly presence, but for the most part, it's thick and mundane, and I hate it. So I went from this 17-year-old being really freaked out and overwhelmed to now I feel better when I'm connected more to that and hate when things are normal. This is why I'm not a Christian. This is why I'm not an atheist, because I had other things present themselves to me. And I understood that they weren't necessarily malicious. I was only scared because I didn't know what it was.